Hello, my friends. Hello, hello. How are you? This is the Outstanding Life Show. Here we talk about recovery. We talk about addiction. We talk about mindfulness. My name is Jason. Today, we're trying out something new. Here we go. Check out the website. We have outstanding.life, and it's the transcription of these videos. Is there gratitude in 2021? Can you be grateful? I was watching the Friends reunion thing, and I was like, can you be any more grateful? Being grateful doesn't take a lot of work. I saw this one thing. It was Dr. Wayne Dyer. He gave an example, the triangle effect. When you share that gratefulness, and it generates more gratitude, it like perpetually expand, kind of like compounding interest, expressing the gratitude. It gives more opportunity for it to grow, and it spreads like wildfire, like in a good way. So being grateful has its benefits, has its perks. We're giving it that space to give that gratitude away. If I'm not practicing gratitude, if I'm not living a gratitude first life, I'm stifling it before it even has a chance to begin. It's a very weird place to be. I'm trying to think of these negative words that take the place of gratitude. If I'm occupying that same space with gratitude, I'm able to cultivate more. I'm able to share more. I'm able to give more gratitude. When I say, can you be grateful in 2021? Yes. The answer is yes. You can be grateful. Is it easy to be grateful in 2021? Well, maybe. I mean, everyone is different. Everyone's got their own opportunities. I was going to listen to a gratitude type meditation on my way home. This is way better. That is awesome. The gratitude type meditation. Megan, which meditation app do you use to help keep you centered? I'm more familiar with the calm.com, but there's also another great one, Headspace. They both have free versions of their app, but they also have paid versions. So I like that gratitude. I like being a part of that. Calm.com to join their Facebook group. And I didn't think there would be anything to it. As soon as I relinquished my inhibitions, and I was like, you know what? These are a group of like-minded people. Join the group. And I did. And I've found a community of other people who are also interested in gratitude, who express empathy towards each other, who support each other when they need help. I really enjoyed this Facebook group. It's nothing but positive support. People will share not just what their struggles are, but also what they celebrate. There's way more celebrating happening in this Facebook group. Even though it sounds silly, I find it uplifting when someone can share their small win, though they're open and transparent and they're honest, their heart and their soul and their sleeve, and they're putting it out there and they're saying, hey, I just got this small win. I want to call it a connection to source. I want to call it a supportive mentality. If I'm surrounding myself with other grateful people, starting my day with a gratitude first mentality, surrounding myself with the people, there's starting my day with gratitude. Then there's also the practice of gratitude, finding the time to be grateful. Maybe you're taking a bus and you're finding time to be grateful, setting a good example for others. There are some great habits that can come from being grateful, having that gratitude first, despite the challenges that are out there. Are there challenges? For sure. But there's also an opportunity for getting yourself in the right headspace. There are definitely small, tiny, micro adjustments. A gratitude life is a micro commitment to yourself, to others. It can help pave the way to a way more supportive lifestyle. It can drive positivity where there wasn't any. It's an interesting approach. It's not an easy one at first. When I first signed up to calm.com, it was at the height of 2020 and things were going all sorts of crazy. My headspace probably wasn't in the best, and I was feeling a little anxious. I was feeling a little nervous. I was feeling a little wound up. I didn't have a way of winding down. I didn't have that supportive community. I do have friends, I do have family, but there's also like a release separate than that. Okay, and Megan is saying, I usually use Calm, but I got started with Headspace after Neil Pasricha came and did that book launch for us. He's the guy that was like the 10% happier guy. I think it's the blue book. I really enjoy calm.com, but every day adds up. Every day is important. We have talked about, my friends, can you be grateful in 2021? And the answer is yes, through micro commitments. And a way you can help achieve that micro commitment is through taking time every day to be grateful, to celebrate that gratitude, to share that gratitude with someone else. And it helps calm ourselves. It helps calm my mind. It gives me something else to focus on other than the external world. Because if I focus on the external world and only the external world, that's just a recipe to go 0 to 60. Second question, can I be grateful even when things are challenging? I would argue that yes. I would argue that yes, you can be grateful. Would say there's a way to practice gratitude even when things are challenging. There's times where even in my day-to-day 9 to 5, I take time to practice gratitude. I'll take a minute and I'll breathe. If I'm in a spicy moment, I can catch myself before I wreck myself. I've started to map out some of my emotions and map out some of my patterns and identify certain parts of me feeling anxious, if I'm feeling wound up. If I'm, you can really hear it in my voice. If I'm feeling scrunched up and I'm not really sure what's going on, I can help identify that emotion, take a few steps back, and start to appreciate what part of me is feeling that. And we've talked before about mapping our emotions, but one of the benefits, the things that we can celebrate, identifying when things are challenging, what part of us is feeling challenged. Am I feeling, is my ego being poked? Is my temper, is my anger, frustration, or is it part of something else? Maybe it's the loneliness. Maybe if I'm being poked and it's sparking an emotion in me and I'm feeling very challenged, can I feel grateful? I can feel grateful because it's helping me identify that sore spot. If there's a raw emotion that I'm feeling and it's connected to loneliness, or if it's connected to resentment, maybe this positivity, this focus that I can walk away with, this gratitude first life, if I'm taking a minute to appreciate, soaking in that loneliness, soaking in that resentfulness, giving it that 3 seconds to live with me, to breathe with me, but then I don't let it make decisions for me. So when things are challenging, yes, I can recognize that these are challenging moments, or this is a challenging interaction, but it doesn't make it a challenging day. It doesn't make it a challenging hour. It might mean a challenging 10 minutes, but it doesn't need to be a challenging 10 years. Yes, there's a response that I'm giving, but there's also like a choice I'm giving too. I'm giving it more life force, or I'm focusing more on it beyond the initial interaction. There's a label I'm going to give, and there's an opportunity where I can paint it with a new label. Yes, things can be challenging, but I also have the opportunity of shaping that into the direction of progress, where I can give it a new meaning, a new label, and I can add to it, rather than the context that I've given things up to this point. Because if I only experience things as I remember them, if I've had a salty interaction, a spicy resentment, these are the only interactions that I remember, and I encounter something similar, that's not really healthy. That's not really supportive. That's not really conducive to living an outstanding life. Yes, these are things that can happen, and yes, challenges are going to happen, but that doesn't mean that I have to wallow in that challenging moment. That doesn't mean I have to let that challenging moment make decisions for me. I have the opportunity where I can make it into something more. Maybe I can take this opportunity where, if it's pointed out loneliness as an example, or if it's pointed out this sore spot, that it shines a light that I myself have worked to work on, where there's a shining light on, yes, there's something that's become, if I'm shining a light and it's only ever been on this area over here for like a long time, and then I take that light and I shine it barely over to the corner here, and there's something else that comes to light here. This gives me an opportunity to shine the light over here where it's not been nothing but shadows up to this point. And if I need to go into those shadows and do some work, yes, that can be challenging, but it's also shining light on there's opportunity for me to grow. There's something for me to learn. There's something more for me to do. And yes, there's anger, resentment, negativity. These are things that are out there, but these are things that don't need to live in my life for a long period of time. I don't know. I'm probably saying it wrong. So here's another question. How can I get started with gratitude? So what are some things I can do? Megan's got an idea, and it's using the Headspace app or using the Calm.com app. These are at a high level, just a Kickstarter. Focus on building good, healthy habits. We can start inducing Calm.com and Headspace into a regular spiel. I'll make a gratitude list. It's almost like a journal. Some of my friends journal creativity things, where they'll do painting, or they'll do art, cursive writing, or they'll do like creative writing. And those are ways to express yourself. One thing I'll do is I'll make a list. The 3 things I'm grateful for right now. At first, when I start making this list, and it's a regular list. At first, this list I'm making is super simple. Like, I'm thankful it's not snowing right now, or I'm thankful I have food in my stomach. stomach, or I'm thankful for my cat who's sleeping in the corner. These are things that I'm thankful for. But as I start habitually making that list and going back to it and focusing on it, I'm no longer giving surface level, high level topic ideas to be thankful for. After a while, I'll move beyond those surface level things and I'll start digging into way more specific things. Like, I'm thankful I have the opportunity to grow, and I'm thankful I have the chance to see past these challenging moments and look at them as they truly are. Find out the things I don't like, to focus more on the things I do. And when I start separating things no longer in good or bad, I'm able to move beyond those surface level things. And yes, I can feel an emotion when I can start mapping what part of me is feeling the emotion. If I apply that same concept now to gratitude, if part of me is feeling grateful right now for this one thing, what part of me is feeling grateful? And as I start to reveal who I am, the core, to myself, and I start looking at the patterns of things that are bringing me joy, as I start looking at the patterns of things that are driving my success through celebration, through gratefulness, through gratitude, through thankfulness, I can start to appreciate the kind of person that I truly am underneath, and I can start building more of those things through choice. Like I can start creating it and cultivating more of it as it happens. So I'm not just randomly, aimlessly bumping into gratitude, but I have a way of co-creating gratefulness through my choices, through my engagements, through my friendships and my celebrations. When I start documenting it, making those habits through surrounding myself with a community of like-minded individuals, like taking the time, like not just downloading the app, but actually committing at every day from 8:10 to 10:15 for that 10 minutes. I'm just going to write. Or for that one bus ride home, kind of like Megan, I'm going to go and just do this because as soon as I get on the bus, this is something I'm going to do. Even if the time changes every day, every time I'm on the bus, I'm going to go do this. Start building those habits, start getting into that circle of writing it down. Even if it doesn't make sense now, it can make sense later. When I go back and I look at younger Jason and what focuses I had in my early sobriety, before sobriety, in the heat of my addiction, the things I was grateful for are nowhere near of celebration that I do today. I was just celebrating, just surviving the weekend at a certain part of my addiction where I wasn't focused on family and friends or even responsibility or relationships. These were never things that I would celebrate. But I look back now and I wasn't practicing gratitude. And when I look at my life now, one of the stark changes is coming from setting it up, from making time, from committing to follow through, from surrounding myself with others that are also like-minded. One of these by themselves isn't going to move me into gratitude, but that 5%, that 10%, that shift, that tiny little shift added on top of the other tiny shift, it's enough to curve a rounded negative day into a positive one. And rather than let things live with me or let resentment build up in me, I'm able to move through it and navigate it and shape it into something more. One of these things by themselves isn't enough to solve all that, but it's good practice for me to help focus on revealing parts of me that I want to work on, help celebrate the things I want to create more of. I hope that makes sense. So, our friend Megan is saying, I've started to write things down for what I'm grateful for, even the little things. That's awesome. The little things matter most. But also try and write down the things that I'm hopeful to be grateful for in the future, kind of like goals. But then it can be anything that I find likely to happen that could bring me joy. That's amazing. Future Megan will be thankful for your efforts today. That's huge. Good for you, Megan. That's awesome. Not many people can zone in on that laser focus, make it a real thing. It's too easy to not want to do something like that. You've created that opportunity for it to grow. And I think that's awesome. I think that's huge, Megan. This is a question. Is there any side effects of gratitude? Well, when it comes to gratitude, is there any impacts? When I express gratitude to another person, so when I say to my friend Megan, thank you for being here, I really appreciate that. I really, really appreciate you as a person, as a friend, as a shining light, as a pillar of the community for the hard work that you do. When I share that genuinely, the people observing that also see that. That reflects inside them as well. So they observe that and they bring that into their life. So even though I'm sharing that gratitude to a person directly, someone else observing that gets to experience the same gratitude. And that sparks, then moves the needle just a tiny bit. And maybe it doesn't move them 10%, maybe it moves them 2 or 3%. And then when you compile that on a few more gratitude steps, maybe that moves them into a 20% range. It's really interesting, gratitude. By living a gratitude first life, I deprive other areas of my life. And what do I mean by that? I mean, if I'm living a gratitude life first, not giving room for negativity to grow, I'm not giving room for anxiety. Anxiety still is going to be present. Resentment is still going to show up. But the difference is it's not going to have a hold on me. Like, it's not going to grip. It's not going to, there's times where I'm genuinely afraid of something. But if I'm living a gratitude life first, like, I'm not putting blinders on where I'm just avoiding all realism. I'm still grounded in reality, but I can still take a focus on gratitude. I can still take a minute to appreciate that, yes, these are things that are happening, but I also have an opportunity to put my own label on things, and I can use that to move forward rather than use something to be crippling or limiting. Or we've talked before about limiting beliefs. So if I'm living a gratitude first life, an impact of that on a long-term basis can shift my perception of how I'm showing up every day. It can shift who I'm surrounding myself every day with. It can shift the long-term impacts of I'm not feeling anxious all the time. That can be a very cool thing to not have to stress about. Hold on. My cat is jumping up on the computer. Kitty, there was a thunderstorm earlier. My cat was he was rambunctious. I think it's dinner time. That's probably what it is. He woke up from his nap. Now he's hungry. He's moving over. He's jumping up on the mic. Okay, Kitty. There we go. Okay, my friends. So we have talked about gratitude. Is there any impacts to gratitude? Is there any negative impacts? Is there positive things? How to get started? How do we share it? How do we celebrate it? So these are all early, newbie level gratitude practices. Are they easy for everybody when you get started? No. But that's where there's apps like Calm.com, Headspace. Actually, I have a link. The link in the stream is sobriety.live/now. If you go check it out, there is a link, Calm.com subscription, 30 days. You click on it, you get 30 days of Calm.com. It's absolutely free. I get nothing out of it. I'm already a lifetime subscriber. But if you want 30 days for free, go check it out. I am grateful for all the Tosh updates. Your cat is awesome. Thank you, Megan. Okay. All right, my friends. This has been a fun stream. Megan's bus ride has flown by too quickly, and now we are at the end of the stream. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Megan, for commenting and being a part of this. I look forward to seeing you guys in another video. In the meantime, you guys take care. You have fun, and I'll catch you guys later. Okay, bye-bye. Say bye, Tosh.